Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Denver Community Credit Union's Financial Education Series. We're pleased to be joined today by the Denver District Attorney's Office. We have Haley, who's going to be presenting on "'Tis the Season to Be Scammed," a really important topic that's important not only to Denver Community Credit Union's members, but the general Denver community at large. If you're not familiar with our financial education series, you can go to our website at denvercommunity.coop and /education. We have multiple recordings of all sorts of different financial education topics, and we also offer free financial coaching in the community. We also have e-courses that are available in English and Spanish on our website, and you can watch those with no downloads, no logins. So we encourage you to take a look at that and join us for some other classes. But today, we're going to turn it over to the Denver District Attorney's Office and learn about seasonal scam issues. Haley, take it away.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right. Can everybody see the presentation that I'm sharing? Is the season?
Yep.
Okay, beautiful. So like you said, my name is Haley DiVergilio. I'm a community outreach specialist with the Denver District Attorney's Office. I work with the Economic Crimes Unit as well as the Elder and At-Risk Unit. So my main job is creating content and presentations and educational materials about scams. They happen a lot. They happen more than I ever thought was possible before I started this job. So I feel very lucky to be able to teach people about them. And hopefully, once you learn a little bit about them, you'll be able to recognize them both in your own life and also in the lives of others as well. So this is my "'Tis the Season to Be Jolly, Just Don't Fall for a Scammer's Folly." So today we're going to be talking about a couple of scams that we see happen most often in the holiday season. So that's starting right now. November 1st is when scammers really step up their game because this is a very big season for them, right? They make a lot of money over the holidays. So we're going to be talking about some online shopping scams, some gift card scams, charity scams, and delivery scams. So first, I wanted to briefly share an example of a local scam, and this is one that I personally was involved with after the fact. Every single day, I get an email with a list of scams that happened that the Denver police have a report for. So I see what's actually happening in real time every single day and what's being reported. So this one happened last year in January, and it was a very unfortunate one, but also kind of fortunate in the end. So it was a local woman. She lives in Denver. She is retired. She was home making lunch and she got a phone call from an unknown number. So she went ahead and she answered. And it was someone who was telling her that her account had been compromised, right? An account on her computer, I believe it was an Apple account, had been compromised and she now had a virus of some kind. So she was very worried because she's a lot like me. I don't know anything about my Apple account. I know that I have one and that's about it. So she said, "Okay, that sounds bad. How can you help me?" And he said, "All I need you to do is to download an application on your phone and then I'll be able to help you out." Now, she didn't recognize this as a red flag. She was very flustered. She had the stove on. She was in the middle of making something. And so she said, "Okay, I can do that." And she downloaded an application on her smartphone. The man then had complete control of her smartphone and she was watching him move things around and open applications. And, he said that his name was John and he was from Apple support. So she really thought that he was helping her. What he did do is open up the banking app on her phone. Now, if you're like me, I have a banking app on my phone. It's incredibly convenient, really great thing to have, but he now had access to her bank account. He went to her bank account and he said, "Oh my gosh, I have made a massive mistake. I have just deposited $4,000 in your account by accident. I'm going to get fired. My kids are going to starve to death. Do you want that to happen to me?" And, this woman was, of course, a good person. And she said, "No, I don't want your children to starve. What can I do to help?" So he said, "I need you to go purchase gift cards for me." So he directed her to a local store. It's a Super Target. It's the one in Glendale off of Colorado and Alameda. It's actually the Super Target that I go to, which is why this kind of hit close to home because I love that Super Target. So this woman, she looked at her bank account and sure enough, she did have an extra $4,000 in there that she did not remember being there. So she went to Super Target and she purchased $2,000 in gift cards. She was on the phone with this man the whole entire time. He was telling her what to do and what to say. She bought them and then she read him the numbers on the gift cards. He then asked her what was nearby and she said, well, there's a Nordstrom Rack across the street. So she went over to the Nordstrom Rack and tried to purchase another $2,000 in gift cards. Luckily, there was a loss prevention employee there named Michelle. And Michelle said, you're being scammed. I don't know why you're buying $2,000 worth of gift cards, but you're on the phone. You look very nervous. You look very distressed. I believe you're being scammed. And so she called the police on this victim's behalf. So the police came. They were actually able to speak to John on the phone briefly. He said his name was John Smith, of course, from Apple. And then he hung up. And then they called the number back and it had been disconnected. So they were not ever able to get a hold of him, but the victim was only out $2,000 instead of $4,000. Still a very devastating amount of money to lose, $2,000. But by the time, she'd realized it was a scam and the police had gotten there, they had already taken the money off of those gift cards from Super Target and they were gone. So this is very common. Gift cards are a super common way to pay. We'll talk about those a little bit later. But I like to bring up, a local example because this woman, she was very, very smart and she felt so embarrassed and so angry that she had fallen for it. But people fall for it every single day. I myself have fallen for a scam before. I know my boss has almost fallen for a couple. So, please, you're not alone. I literally get reports every single day. And so I'm going to hopefully teach you about these scams so you can recognize them before they happen.
And Haley, you're on your beginning slide there. So I think you can either scroll down or.
Oh, sure. Let me see. I should have.
Yay, Zoom.
Are you able? I know. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Let's see.
We still see the "'Tis the
Sharing
Season," the opening slide.
Okay, perfect. Let's see. So sharing is paused. Bring your shared window to the front. I believe it is in the front. Let me see here.
I see your pointer with the hand. I'm wondering if maybe in that program you might be able to scroll down.
Okay, let me see. Are you able to see the next slide now?
No.
No, okay. Let's see. I'm sorry, guys.
No problem. There we go. That's text messages. We just saw text messages.
Okay.
Now I see your desktop or your program. Yep.
Beautiful. Okay.
You see what you're doing now. Yep.
Perfect. Let's see. View. Won't let me do full screen mode. Oh, come on. Sorry, guys.
There we go. That would work. And you can just scroll if you
Yeah.
want. If you don't want, or there we go, full screen.
Okay, let's see if this works. How's that? Can you see the text message scans
We
now?
still see text message. And it looks like it's kind of in a display mode. Sort of. Can you scroll
Is it moving
down?
at all? Can you see any other slides?
Yeah.
Let me see.
I think if you just went back to whatever you were doing before and just manually.
Okay. Yeah, I can do that.
Don't feel bad. This happens to me all the time.
Yeah, I just, we don't use Zoom in my office. We just use.
There we go. Yeah, so I see your cursor moving, so you could just scroll in that presentation, and I bet we'll be able to see it. There we go.
Okay.
Yep, that'll work.
Okay, beautiful.
Fantastic.
Sorry, guys. Here we go, though. Okay, so next we're going to talk about briefly a couple of the main scams that we see. The first one being text message scams. These are much more prevalent now that more people have smartphones. Now, it is great that people have smartphones. However, they do come with some issues. So we need to be aware that text message scams do happen pretty often. This is typically when scammers will send fake text messages to try and trick you into revealing some kind of private information. They'll typically send a link and they'll make you want to click that link in whatever way, right? And the link will take you either to a fake website where they could steal your login information. So like a fake interface for PayPal or something. And then you'll put in your login information. It won't actually end up taking you to PayPal, but it will end up taking that login information for you. They may also try to download some kind of harmful malware to your phone if you click on that link. So if you ever get a text message and it's asking for personal information, or it's out of the blue, or if it just seems, a little wonky, you really want to make sure that you're not clicking on any kind of personal information there. Okay. All right, so you also want to make sure that you're never clicking on any links or replying to those messages, right? You may see the messages coming through, but you want to make sure that you're never replying to them. If you don't know who it is, just don't respond to it. Don't click on anything in there. Let's see if they'll let me go. All right, can you see this next slide here, the computer and email?
Perfect.
Scams?
Yep.
Okay, beautiful. So for computer and email scams, this is when you might receive an unfamiliar email with some kind of link, right? So this could be a link to anything. It could be from your credit card company, could be again from like a company like PayPal, that's one we see often, could be from something like Amazon. So when you receive an unfamiliar link, they're going to make you want to click it. It's going to be a problem, it's going to be a prize, some kind of incentive. You also may get something like a scammer trying to contact you, trying to fix a compromised computer. A lot of these are just about common sense, right? Apple has hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of customers. They don't know when your computer is compromised, and they don't necessarily know, at what point you've been hacked or you have malware on your computer. So they definitely wouldn't have time to email, text, or call every single person who had a virus. If you do get emails like this and you think that it might be legitimate, you're always going to want to check with a trusted source to contact that company, right? So you want to get a number from a trusted source to contact that company to verify whatever issue they're telling you about. So I get a lot of emails from my credit card company, right? If I ever get emails that seem a little bit weird, or it's a problem that is kind of out of the blue and I feel kind of nervous about it, I will typically call my credit card company at the number that I have used before with them. It's the number that I got from their official website. And you're going to want to call them at that number and then ask them to verify the problem. There we go. Lastly, we'll touch on the common phone scams here. These are the 4 most common ones that we see. So first, we're going to have our lottery scams. Pretty self-explanatory. This is when a scammer will call and say, you have won the lottery or a sweepstakes, and you didn't even enter, which is fantastic. So they are going to request some kind of money in order to get your money, right? To get your prize. So this could be for taxes or fees or processing charges. Next, we have our IRS scam, same kind of thing. The scammer will call and say, you owe taxes and you need to pay immediately. They're going to threaten you with some kind of legal or personal or financial consequence. We have our grandkids scams. These happen a lot around the holidays, so do keep an eye out for these. This is when the scammer claims that there is a family member who is in trouble. They'll sometimes claim to be the family member themselves, and they'll say, hey, grandma, it's me. I'm in jail in Florida, and I need you to send money to get me out of jail. I need you to bail me out. They'll typically ask for secrecy, and they'll say, I sound weird because I have a cold, or I sound weird because I broke my nose, or something of that nature. We also have our debt scams. Same kind of thing. Scammers will call and claim to be a debt collector. They'll say that you owe a debt and you must pay it immediately. And they'll not give you any information about the debt, right? So now we're going to move into the more specific holiday scams that we see. So the first one we're going to talk about are the online shopping scams. Now, the big question for these is, is it too good to be true? A lot of scams, especially online shopping scams, they are going to be too good to be true. So scammers will offer incredible deals. They'll offer them via email, sometimes via ads on social media, pop-up ads on the internet. And these deals are going to be absolutely wild. They're going to be so good. You're going to think that you hit the jackpot on them. They're also going to advertise cheap products, but typically what you end up receiving isn't what you actually ordered, right? You may have ordered a genuine name brand purse, right, for an excellent price. However, what you receive will not be a genuine name brand purse. It'll be a cheap knockoff. They also may promise incentives. So these could be, special coupons or gift cards. They could be very unrealistic discounts for kind of no reason. These incentives generally don't exist when you're buying from a legitimate business, so just be aware. Again, if it seems too good to be true, then it probably is too good to be true. You want to make sure that you're steering clear of unfamiliar or untrustworthy sites. So these sites are going to be ones that look a little bit off, right? They might have kind of grainy images or misspellings, or you've never ever heard of this company or site before. You also want to make sure that you're not clicking on any ads that seem too good to be true or seem unrealistic. So all of these ads, they're going to pop up. They can pay for them. It's completely legal. But the products that they're advertising, they either don't exist, or you won't receive them, or they'll be much different than what you were expecting. In many of these cases, you will send money and you'll send personal information, right? They'll ask for a lot of information from you. They'll want, your name, your date of birth, your email, your phone, your address, etc. And you'll send all of that, right? Because you're making a purchase. You'll send the money, and instead of receiving the gift, you'll receive a compromised bank account or a stolen identity. If they're asking for bank account information, that's pretty unusual. Mostly when you're buying things over the holiday season, it's good to buy with something that leaves a paper trail, like a credit card, right? That's a very safe way to buy something. If they're asking for direct bank account access, that's a big red flag. I've never ever had to pay for anything, especially, a gift for someone, by giving them direct access to my bank account. And again, you want to be cautious. If you seem like they're asking for way too many details, they probably are. We always want to protect our identity. Identity theft does happen pretty often, so just be very wary of that. Now, next, we'll hop over to our gift card scams. So gift card scams are the #1 reported fraud payment method today. So this means that when people are scammed, when they experience fraud, they are typically being asked to pay in gift cards. So gift cards are for gifts, not for payments. This is my mantra. This is what I love to tell people. Gift cards are for gifts. Gift cards are not for payments. Now, we want to be aware of a couple of things when we're doing gift card scams. Gift card scams have unfortunately kind of blossomed into something much bigger than it used to be. So the first thing we're going to talk about is spoofing. Now, spoofing is when someone will spoof a text or an email or a phone call, and they'll say that they are someone in your life that you may be close to, or maybe an acquaintance, right? It could be a friend, could be a family member, a neighbor is very common, or even, some person in your life. We get a lot of them that come from pastors at churches, scammers pretending to be pastors at churches, things like that. So they're going to spoof that phone number or that email address. And they can do this. It's actually very easy nowadays, unfortunately, for scammers to do this. They'll sometimes hack directly into their email, or sometimes they'll just use their email as a header. And they'll say, hey, how are you doing? I need you to buy me a gift card for some reason. It could be personal, it could be business. One that I've seen recently was a woman saying, hi, it's me, your neighbor, Betty. My son's birthday is coming up and I don't know how to buy gift cards, but I was hoping that maybe you could buy him a gift card on my behalf and I'll pay you back the next time I see you. Now, this person luckily was like, that's so weird. Betty has never emailed me in my life. So he called Betty at the number that he had. And Betty said, I did not send that. So luckily, he avoided that. It's a little harder, if someone from your church, like your pastor, says, can you buy some gift cards for, an official matter? Because, maybe that's something that could be realistic. What you always want to do is contact this person via a trusted number to verify their identity. So again, a trusted number is going to be from an official website, a piece of mail that you received, or a number that's saved in your phone that you've used before. So if you get, an email from your neighbor and she wants you to buy some gift cards for her, that's kind of weird, a big red flag for gift cards specifically. And you're going to want to give her a call at the number or go knock on her door and say, hey, is this you? Because if not, she's going to want to take some steps to keep herself safe, and you also avoided losing money. Now, the next way that gift cards are used for scams is for reimbursement and payment. So this is pretty self-explanatory. If a business or an agency or an organization or a person is ever asking you to pay for something with a gift card, that is 100% a scam. Now, the reason being that gift cards are very quick. You can buy them almost anywhere and they are completely anonymous, right? If you give someone a gift card number and you give them all the information on it, they can get that money immediately and they can disappear. Now, again, scammers may accidentally deposit money into an account and ask you to purchase gift cards to reimburse them. This is a very common scam tactic. In the scam example that I talked about earlier, the way that the scammer was able to show her the $4,000 in her account was actually because he had transferred it from her savings into her checking. And she was so flustered that she didn't think to check her savings. She just saw that extra money in her checking account and she believed him. Now, scammers may pretend to be, again, from a government agency like the IRS or the FBI or even a local sheriff's department. I've gotten a couple of those calls, and they'll want you to pay for whatever it is, overdue taxes, a warrant out for your arrest, some kind of fee with gift cards. Now, I did double check all of this. The IRS, the FBI, and most jails do not accept gift cards as payments. So if you ever have, Sheriff so-and-so from whatever county calling you and saying you have a warrant out for your arrest, and you can actually pay off the warrant with $300 Apple iTunes gift card, that's a scam. Again, legitimate government agencies and most businesses, they do not accept gift cards as payments. Now, if you're using a Target gift card at Target to buy something, of course, that's very normal. That's something that is absolutely acceptable. But if you have a utility man saying, I'd actually like you to pay me in, a Google Play gift card, that's a red flag. You always want to pay with something that has a paper trail. So again, I cannot possibly reiterate this enough, but if they ask for payments in gift cards, that is a scam. They may threaten you in some way. These could be financial consequences, legal consequences, personal consequences, like you will go to jail. We will come to your house. We will steal your identity. If anyone is threatening you with things like this, you need to call the police and file a police report because that is absolutely not okay. Now, next, we're going to move over to our charity scams. Now, unfortunately, over the holidays, a lot of people fall for these simply because they pop up out of nowhere, because scammers know that around the holidays, people want to give, right? They want to give money. It makes people feel great. It's a wonderful thing to do, to donate to charities. I absolutely think it's great, and you should continue to donate to charities if you choose to do so. However, you do want to be aware of charity scams. Now, the best way to avoid a charity scam is to only donate to charities that you know very well or you have researched. So if it's a brand new charity, you've never heard about it, you can't find much information online, that's probably a scam. When you have these fake charities, the money will go directly to the scammers. So they will put up a facade, they will say they are helping, whoever, the homeless perhaps, but none of that money will go to any unhoused people. It will go straight to the scammer, right into their pocket, and then they'll disappear off the face of the earth, and the charity will be shut down mysteriously. Now, if you do want to donate to a charity and you're just not really sure, you want to believe it's legitimate, but you're not really sure, again, we're going to look for a trusted contact information. So you're going to want to get their phone number or their email address or even their physical address from a trusted source. So this might be their official website, right? You can go to their official website, you can give them a call, see if they have a legitimate email address. So if they're using, paulsmith@gmail.com as their charity's email address, that's a big red flag, right? Most established charities will have some kind of specific charity email address. If they have a physical address, that's usually a good sign, right? And then if you give them a call and it sounds like someone is actually answering who works for an official charity, that's another good sign. There are several websites you can find online as well. If you're savvy to that, you can look up charities and you can see their legitimacy. You can see how transparent they are, how much of their funds go directly to who they say they're helping, and how much of the funds go to overhead. There are a couple of options for that. So if that's something that you're interested in, I absolutely recommend looking into it, because then you know that your money is actually going to help people. Now we have our delivery scams next, and these are huge all year round, but especially around the holidays. I anticipate these are going to pop up threefold, and we are never going to be able to escape them this time of year. So with our delivery scams, you're going to receive an email or a text or phone call. They do happen over all three. And they're going to ask you, a couple of things. These are the ones that I see most commonly here in Denver. They may ask you to verify an expense for a purchase that you made online. And it's typically going to be very, very expensive. It won't be $30. It will be $800 or $4,000, a huge amount. And they're going to say, hello, Amazon customer. It is Amazon that this happens most often. They'll pretend to be Amazon. They'll say, hello, Amazon customer. You just made a $4,000 purchase on your account. We're just emailing you to verify that this is true. If it's not true, call us at this number. Now, of course, what they want you to do is say, I did not order $4,000 worth of anything. You call them at that number that they gave you. They ask for your bank account information. They take it and they say they're going to reimburse you, but what they actually do is then compromise your bank account, potentially steal your funds. The next one we see is that they're going to tell you that there's a problem with an item you ordered. And this is the exact same situation where you say, I did not order anything. So you contact them, they ask for your bank account or your personal information so that they can reimburse you. Same thing, they're gonna steal something, they're gonna compromise something. So that's also not a great situation. The last one that I've seen very commonly is they're going to ask for information to schedule a package delivery. Now, this is one that I have gotten every single day for the last couple of months, also one that my boss has gotten. And it'll say, I actually have it on the next slide here so I can show you. So it's the one on the right here. And it says, urgent notice from your UPS delivery 7H5F5 for this date. Proceed to this link, and it'll ask for then personal information to confirm. So what they want, obviously, is for you to go to that link or call the number, and they want you to input all of your personal information. So I actually accidentally clicked on one at one point last year because I'm always expecting a package. These days I order a lot of things online, as do most people. So I was like, yeah, that sounds right. I might have a package coming. So I clicked on it and I started to input my information to verify myself for this purchase because they said there was something wrong. They couldn't verify my address. So, on this web page that looked fairly legitimate, I put in my full name and my phone number and my email and my address, and then it asked for my social security number, and that's what gave me pause. I said, I don't feel like you need that in order to deliver a package to me. And that's when I started to look more closely, and I saw that, again, there were some misspellings. They had said, dear customer, instead of my actual name. They had no information about the package at all, which was kind of interesting. And then the image, the USPS logo was a little bit weird at the top. It did not look like what I had seen before. Those were the red flags that alerted me that this was not real. This was them just trying to get my information. So luckily I didn't submit it, but I deleted all of it very quickly and then deleted the text. And again, if you get text like that, you're not sure, don't click the link, don't respond to them, simply delete them. Now, if you do receive a text or call or an email about a delivery that you aren't expecting or a purchase that you didn't make, the first step is not to panic. Because like I said, these happen very often. This is 90% likely to be a scam if you do receive something like this. So, just take a breath and say, whatever it is, we're going to figure it out. For every problem, there is a solution. And the first thing you're going to want to do is check your credit card or your bank statements to verify if there was a charge, right? So if they text you and say $4,000 charge, was that you? You're going to go to your credit card or your bank statement if you have multiple accounts, and you're going to look. Do you see a $4,000 charge? No? Great. That was definitely a scam. You can delete it. You can also find that company's contact information, again, from a trusted source, and call them to explain the problem. So yeah, go to the next slide here. So on the left here, you'll see a little order confirmation. This is one that I found online since they are everywhere, and I've gotten these as well. So this is Amazon, and it says, thank you for shopping with us. Your purchase has been divided into 2 orders, a total $658, and they want you to call them. If you see this, what you're going to do is you're going to go to, Amazon.com, whatever their actual website is online. You're going to find their actual contact information, give them a call, and tell them what happened. Now, they'll either say, oh, yeah, you did order that. Let's see if we can fix that. Or, no, that is a scam. Good on you. Just delete the email. Most companies are very aware of the scams that involve them. So I always say call and verify. It's kind of time consuming, but even an extra 10 minutes taking that time to verify something, that may end up saving you, in this case, $658 or even more, because you never know how much they're going to take. Now we have all of these scams, right? There are so many, and unfortunately, the scammers, they get better every year. They are very, very good at their job. And, why wouldn't they be? They do this full time, 40 hours a week, sometimes more. And this is their livelihood. This is how they make their money. So they're always working to improve. So how can you avoid being scammed? Unfortunately, scammers are hard to catch, and scammers are always going to exist. So it is hard to stop the scammers. But what we can do is arm ourselves with information and arm our friends and family with information to help them avoid being scammed. So the first thing you can do, especially around the holidays, is do your homework on websites and businesses that you'd like to buy from. So if you see a website online, you've never heard of it before, you're not really sure, you want to do a little bit of homework before you purchase anything. So you can submit an inquiry with the Better Business Bureau at www.bbb.org, Better Business Bureau. You can always submit a business inquiry with them to see if it is a legitimate business. Another great thing you can do is check out any reviews or complaints that they may have. And you're going to want to try to do this on another website, right? So this may be something like Yelp. This may be something like the new Google reviews. You're going to want to look up that website or that business anywhere else you can to see what the actual reviews and complaints are saying. Businesses can and will pay for people to leave reviews on their actual website. So those are sometimes untrustworthy, especially if all of them are positive. So just look at the reviews and the complaints and, use your judgment. If it seems sketchy, it's safer not to purchase anything. And again, next, you'll want to look at their contact information. Do they have a permanent address? Do they have that address listed? A lot of businesses that are sketchy, they will not have any kind of permanent address or any information about where they're actually located. They may have a phone number, and when you call it, it may go to a weird voicemail or be picked up by some random person. That's a big red flag. And then again, a business email. If this is a legitimate business and they're still emailing paulsmith123@gmail.com, seems kind of sketchy, so you'll want to do a little bit more research about it. Again, always beware of any company that asks for payment via gift card. Gift cards are scams. Unfortunately, they have turned into a really quick and easy way to pay scammers. So if they're asking for payment via a gift card that is not their gift card, that is a big red flag. If you are trying to buy a candle from a small business and she says, could you actually pay me in an iTunes gift card? Red flag. They also, they shouldn't be requesting credit card information via email. If you want to purchase something online from them, make sure that you're purchasing on an actual payment platform. If they're asking for you to email over your information or send your bank account information, big red flag. Again, be wary of retailers who are offering goods at a super discounted price. There are a lot of deals that happen around the holidays, especially on Black Friday and other, deal days like that. And they are fantastic. And some of them you absolutely can trust. But if people are offering just absolutely crazy deals. You know, something is so cheap, you can barely believe it. You should barely believe it because that is too good to be true. Now, this one is pretty much a given. It's something that is easier said than done, but never give out your personal information. This will be very important this holiday season, especially if they contacted you. Now, if you contacted someone like your credit card company or your doctor's office, and you contacted them at a trusted number, you can, of course, verify a little bit of information, you know, like your birth date or whatever they need to help you access your account. But if someone called you or emailed or texted you and is trying to get you to verify personal information, that's a big red flag. Especially the governmental agencies and organizations will never, ever ask you to verify any truly sensitive personal information, especially not, you know, over email or text. Now, if someone is calling you, right, or texting you or emailing you, and you feel like maybe this could be legit, it seems like it could be real, the best thing you can do is hang up and say, this sounds great, let me verify. Talk to you later. And you're gonna wanna hang up and verify the problem by contacting them at a trusted number. You can also call a friend or a family member or a confidant, and you can discuss what happened before you act on anything. You know, if you get a call and it is the Jefferson County Sheriff's Department, which is who keeps calling me, they really think I have done something bad, and they say there's a warrant out for my arrest. I double check, there is not, because I called the actual, you know, county department. And I talked it through with my dad, and I said, this seems weird, right? They want me to pay them in cash? And he's like, yeah, super bad. And then, of course, you know, as I was talking to him, it helped me see the red flags that I had somehow missed before. You know, I was like, yeah, that seems weird that you'd pay in cash. Also, I didn't know you could pay to get rid of warrants. So sometimes just talking through it can be really, really, really helpful. The last thing is to know the scammer's tactics. You can also talk to friends and family about this. You know, if you know that someone near you has been scammed or has had experience with scammers, you can ask them, say, what was your experience like? Because they do change pretty frequently and they come up with new tactics. The ones that we see most often and the ones that work most often are when they are demanding and scary, right? They're going to demand that you act now and you pay now, and they're not going to give you any time to think or any time to seek help or advice. Most companies, most government agencies, you know, they'll say, hey, there's a problem, you need to pay this. Here are some resources you can call, talk it over, give us a call back when you're ready. That's fairly common. But if they are saying, now, you must pay us immediately, that's a big red flag, because they want you to act before you think. That's how they get you, is because they want you to act when you're flustered and you're scared, instead of acting later when you've had some time to think it over and spot the red flags. They're also going to use intimidation. They may use threats, right, of legal consequences, financial consequences, personal consequences. They have a good idea of what people like and don't like, because it's, you know, pretty common across the board. Most people do not want to go to jail, so they will use that as a threat very often. Most people don't want all of their money to be stolen, so they'll use that as a threat. Most people don't want their identities to be stolen, so that's a really big threat right now. These are, you know, very common. If someone is screaming at you on the phone because you won't pay them, and they won't pay them in a gift card especially, that's a big red flag. No one from any agency, government, or business should ever be screaming at you over the phone or threatening you. So if that's happening, you hang up on them. It's better to be rude than to be naive. That's what I've been trying to tell myself too, right? Someone's scaring you on the phone, just hang up on them. You can always apologize later if it does end up being legitimate. Now, if you don't have someone to talk to, you know, you don't have anyone nearby who you think would be able to help you, and you're just not sure, right? You're not sure if it's a scam. Someone came to your door. You weren't sure if they were real or not. Someone called you on the phone and you just have no idea, because they are very, very realistic. You can call us. You can call the Denver District Attorney's Fraud Hotline. It is a free hotline. There's nothing legal involved, so, you know, it's non-committal. We can take your information, we can look into it further, and we can give you some resources and some information back. So we can say, yes, that was a scam. We've seen that fairly often. Here are some further resources to help educate yourself, but you did the right thing. Or we'll say, no, that seems pretty legit. We've done a little bit of research. Let us help you get back in touch with whoever it was so you can fix that problem. So you can always call us. We'll get back to you within 24 hours if you do have to leave a message. But we are a great resource as well, because if you have questions, we have answers, and we have probably seen everything. So, even if it seems scary, we could definitely help you decide. Now, if you've done something and you have been the victim of a scam and you don't realize it until later, or you don't realize it until directly after, it's okay. It happens to a lot of people. It has happened to me. It has happened to my family members and my friends. It happens to everybody because they are very realistic and very scary. In that case, you can, of course, call us and we can help give you some resources on what to do next. But the first thing you're going to want to do is contact your local police department at their non-emergency number, and you're going to want to file a police report about what happened. We'll also direct you to do that if you call us, because once you do that, we can actually help you a little bit further. Once you file that police report, then the police will also follow up with you, and we'll be able to kind of take some steps from there. Now, if there's a scam in progress, if there is something happening that's put you in physical danger and it's happening right now, you can, of course, call 911 and they'll be able to help you. But always, always, always reach out. And if something happens, always report it. Even if you didn't fall for it, but you almost did, it's okay to report it. And you can also report it to the Federal Trade Commission, the FTC. They have a wonderful website with a lot of really great tips and tricks and information about new scams. You can report any scams that you encounter, any scams that you almost fall for or do fall for. You can report it there, and they'll use that data to help figure out what kind of content they need to be creating for the new scams that are popping up. So I know this is an enormous amount of information, and I am so grateful for all of you for listening. I know it's not necessarily very fun information, but I do think it's really useful. Now, the great thing about this information is that it won't just help you, it'll help the people around you, right? Once you become aware of scams and you become aware of the red flags, you can identify them in your life and the lives of people you love, right? So if you see a friend and she's having issues, you can talk to her, and say, hey, it seems like this might be, kind of sketchy. Can I help you figure out what to do next? If you're at the grocery store and you see someone who is buying gift cards at the self-checkout and, she's on the phone and she is flustered and she looks nervous, it's okay to ask and say, hey, are you okay? You seem kind of scared. That's okay to do. You can also, of course, call the police on people's behalf. You can alert, a manager on someone's behalf. I think it's always better to be safe than to be sorry. So, if someone in your life looks like they need help, it's okay to ask and it's okay to offer, and it's okay to, get them help. So this is all a lot of information, but I'm hoping it will help at least one of you maybe identify a scam that you see, because I do anticipate we're going to be seeing a lot of them in the coming months. So that's all I have. I do have time for some questions. I don't know if anybody has any, or if you guys have any that you'd like me to answer.
This is great. Thank you so much, Haley. I think you have some comments there in the chat, but I have allowed everybody to unmute themselves. So if you would like to ask a question verbally, you can, or you can ask a question in the chat. Haley, while we're waiting on that, I love it's better to be rude than naive. That's a fantastic thing. And we experienced that even with our own credit union members. There was a recent scam where we had folks that kind of the text message thing that you described, and it was verify these charges on your accounts, and it got the people like, oh, I need to, yeah, no, I didn't make those purchases at Walmart. No, I didn't make that purchase at Target. No, I didn't make that purchase. And it gets them all excited. And then all that person has to do is ask them, well, can you tell me your password to make sure this is really you? And they do it without thinking, right? So it's better to just hang up and call your bank or your credit union back, right? And do it that way.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And it's okay to be rude. It's okay to say, you are scaring me, I am hanging up. That is okay. Even if it's really a police officer or really someone from the government or really, a bank teller, I think we'll all understand.
Yeah.
Obviously, we don't want to scare anyone. So it's okay to be a little bit rude if we're scaring you.
So it looks like Sarah asked a question there in the chat. Can you see that one there, Haley?
Yes, let me open that up. Let's see. It says, we've already been scammed. We wired money to a specific name. Why can't the bank get the money back? What should our next steps be? Yes, it is very embarrassing to admit. When I was scammed, I was horribly embarrassed, and I didn't want to tell anyone. Thankfully, I talked to my father, who was very disappointed in me, but he did help me out. This was a couple years back, because if you don't tell anyone, then nobody can help you. So you've been scammed, you wired money to a specific name, and the bank can't get the money back. Have you filed a police report? Because that is always the number one thing that I recommend everybody do, is to immediately file a police report with your local police department. You can do that in person, on the phone, and sometimes they'll have online capabilities. You can get on there and file police reports that way. Once you do that, the police will be able to reach out to you and kind of help you figure out the next steps. It's different for every situation, and it's also depends on the bank and what kind of safety net your bank has. Okay, police report filed. Perfect. So that's the first thing you should do. You can contact the fraud department. Oh, I'm sorry, you can't unmute. So I also don't know how to use Zoom. It's very hard. So yes, I would contact, if you have your bank, contact the fraud department there. Make sure that they have all the information as well. Make sure they have the police report number there. And then you can also contact the Denver District Attorney's Office or your local district attorney. They may also have some information. We can really help you from there, because there may be some legal actions that you can take. I'm not super familiar with all of the legal actions right now, especially with bank transfers. But that would be a great question for our hotline to say, hey, what do we do next? What else can we do? Because it's great that you filed a police report. That will help you a lot. But I would definitely contact the Denver District Attorney's fraud hotline at that number, because we can absolutely give you some resources and kind of get the ball rolling, or send you to someone who can help. But I would also contact your bank's fraud department. They are always really fantastic. We work with a lot of local banks and their fraud departments, and they are so wonderful, and they almost always will know exactly what to do and can kind of point you in the right direction. So I'm so sorry that happened to you. But again, it happens to a lot of people.
So we did contact both the bank that we sent from and the bank that it went to. My question is back to, we wired it to a specific name.
Okay.
So I don't understand why this is so difficult for them, and our bank has closed it, which I don't understand. And the other bank has sent 4 notices to this person and they're not responding.
Shoot. I don't know, because I can't speak for every bank, but I would definitely say contact the DA's office at this point, because this seems like something where they can help kind of push things through, or at least get you started on what you need to do. I'm so sorry. That is so difficult.
Yeah, it looks super legit. So we're embarrassed, but also, we look at the website and the reviews and everything, and we're embarrassed.
I'm so sorry. I know they are so good at it now, and it is very embarrassing, but I mean, you're not the only one. Like I said, I've fallen for scams because they look very legitimate, but I would definitely contact the Denver District Attorney's Office. We can kind of get you started on that. And you can also call the police, and say, hey, I already filed a police report. What's next? What do I do next? Everybody is here to help you specifically. You just may kind of have to get the ball rolling and start pushing to get people to help you push. So yeah, please do contact us, because I think we can at least give you some resources and kind of tell you what to do next, because that doesn't seem right that your bank has closed that case yet, especially because you haven't received your product. You should be able to file some disputes, right? Of course, yeah, I'm sorry I can't be of more help, but our wonderful folks who answer the phone on our hotline are so knowledgeable. And And they are in direct contact with everyone in our office. So if they know someone who can help, they will send you that way. Are there any other questions? I'm hoping that none of you get scammed this season, and I hope that you're very careful. Another great resource that I'm kind of slowly learning about is unknown number call blocking. If you have a cell phone, specifically a smartphone, I have an Apple iPhone, you can do it directly in the settings, and you can actually go online if you have the ability to go online and watch YouTube videos about how to do it, which is how I did it. It's right in your settings, and you just turn on unknown number call blocking. You can also do it in your settings for a number of other phones like Samsung, Android, etc. And what it will do is block unknown numbers. So if this number, if it's not in your contacts, it will keep it from coming up on your screen, and then they can leave a message. So if it's someone that actually needs to get a hold of you, they'll leave a message and you'll be able to call them back. Scammers will often not leave messages unless it's one of the robocalls where they leave like the half message because they just keep going. But this has been awesome and life-changing because I went from getting, 30 calls a day to now, maybe one or two. There's still scammers, but it works so well to just kind of keep scams off your phone. And I also recommend, if you don't know the number, don't answer. Unless you're expecting a specific call from someone, I never answer if I don't know the number because, they can absolutely leave a voicemail. You can get back to them then. But if you don't answer, then you have no possibility of getting scammed. Most scammers will not leave voicemails because they don't want any kind of trail leading back to them. So they won't leave messages, so you won't ever hear from them. This is also available on landlines as well. It's a little bit more work, but if you call your landline provider, they can tell you what options they have. Some of them have free services. Some of them will partner with, there's like a box you can buy that's called like RoboBlocker or something of that nature that you can install. Those are great to give as gifts as well. If you have a gift giving holiday coming up, that's always a fantastic gift, especially to give to people who only have landlines. Yeah, these are all great resources, and they will change your life because I used to get calls constantly. Now I get very few. So I definitely recommend looking into that as well. I will give, I have my email address. I can leave it here in the chat. If anybody would like for me to come and present for them, or if they would like resources, I have about 10 months worth of content on a variety of different things: phone scams, email scams, text scams. I'm more than happy to send it all to you. It's absolutely free of charge. It is provided by the DA's office for free. So if anyone wants to email me and ask for any kind of content, any questions, etc., I'm more than happy to get back to you. So I'll leave that in the chat here.
That's fantastic, Haley. And again, this session is recorded. So if anybody would like to share this with a friend or a family member, it will be up on our website by tomorrow. So you can also, you'll be able to find that on our website. I'll leave that in the chat also. And Haley, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much. It's we have our own issues that, dealing with scammers at the credit union, and it's good to hear that the Denver DA's office is all over this and that you're a fantastic resource to be able to go to.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. And, do give us a call, shoot me an email. We will always do our 100% best to help you out. Again, I hope that you don't have any scammers in your life this holiday season. But if you do, just let us know and we can help you. So thank you all so much for listening. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Haley.